sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
It's Tuesday, the 9th of December, 2025. Christmas is edging ever closer. And live on West Coast Radio, you're with Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. And a grateful thanks to Aji Jacob Khan for anchoring the first hour. It's now, 19 minutes past 9 o'clock in the morning. On Coffee Time this morning, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Service, as usual, is back to unpack government projects and defend the Borough administration against its critics. But the spotlight doesn't end there. Finance Minister C.D. Keita also has a big question to answer about car powership and debt. And I'll be catching up with him, hopefully on the phone, before the end of the hour. So stay with us. Dr. Ceesay is here. He has a big wardrobe, believe you me. And every time he comes into the studio, he impresses me with his outfit. Boy, kula de nyawal.
Good morning, Peter.
First and foremost, yes, welcome to the program.
If we were in a game of football, the way you introduced me to come and discuss government's projects and initiative, but also defend the administration. If we were in a game of football,
against your
critics, I would have been playing two roles in the football field. I would have been the striker and the sweeper.
Actually, with you and the Sankare, someone described you as the two center backs in the Borough administration.
No, for me, I'm the striker.
You're the striker.
I do offensive. I score.
Oh, you do more striking than defending.
I score, but I also defend. I'm also playing the role of a sweeper.
Fantastic.
And that is unusual in a football.
So we are expecting your finance and economic affairs colleague, C.D. Keita.
Yes, he would call in.
To call in before the end of the
program. To make some clarifications. Right, in fact, under normal circumstances,
because this
he wouldn't even need to do clarification. This is a no-brainer. It's a very simple thing.
How do you mean he doesn't need any clarification? He doesn't need to make any clarification. It's out there. Everybody is asking the question.
Yeah, but
how could he say he owes car powership? When car powership says, they were paid what? Maybe months ago?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, that they were paid, but he didn't say we owe car powership. So the money given by the World Bank is going towards paying car powership. But then again, the money from World Bank came a bit late and car powership was paid. Therefore, it's just to reimburse that money. It's as simple as that. It's nothing difficult about that.
It's like a contractor finishing a project which he prepaid. Yeah. You still have to pay them.
Exactly. So, no, it's like me, I have to pay Peter for the services Peter offered me. But Aji promised to give me that money to pay Peter.
Aji,
but
by the way, is taking care of the,
But before Aji's money came, I have to pay Peter. I paid Peter. So when Aji's money comes, I'll reimburse where I got it from. So when Aji's money came, I said, yes, this money is towards paying Peter. So what's difficult as that? It's just to reimburse it.
Maybe when CD calls, he'll clarify. Yeah. All right. Some updates first.
Yes, the president, His Excellency Adama Barrow, arrived in Abidjan.
Everybody just calls him president without His Excellency or even the Alhaji. He's been to Mecca, but hardly do you hear anybody call him Alhaji
No,
Adama Barrow.
we don't call him Sheikh Professor. We don't call him Alhaji Doctor.
He doesn't have those titles yet. You never know.
He's a very humble man. He doesn't like titles. He's a doctor. He's got an honorary degree
from the University of the Gambia. Yes,
and I've seen people in this country who are using those titles, even though NACA, the National Accreditation Quality Assurance for Education Gambia, has issued a press release saying that people with honorary doctorates should refrain from calling themselves doctor.
We've seen also party leaders just for leading a party being called doctor.
Yes, Gambia people we like titles, honorable, Doctor Ismaila Ceesay, and if you don't use
your Lance colleague says nobody should be called honorable
yes.
if you are not a minister or a member of the National Assembly.
But even ministers, based on my understanding, I can be wrong, someone can correct, ministers are not supposed to be called honorables. It is only members of parliament who are supposed to be called. That's
you will never hear me call you honorable.
That's what I got to learn. But
again.
I mean, in Gambia we but like I said, President Barrow is a very humble man, and a very honorable man. So he doesn't like these big titles like His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji.
So when you address him, how do you address him?
H.E.
You just say H.E.?
Also like titles. H.E.
Okay. So you just say H.E.?
S.G. H.M. We like short titles in government.
Yeah, but he can't be S.G. So you just
No, he's H.E. What I'm saying, in government also we like to shorten this
title. So you go in and say H.E. and then what does he say? Ndoma. Does he say Ndoma?
He calls me doctor.
Doctor.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
All right. So the president arrived in Abidjan to attend the inauguration of the President-elect Alassane Ouattara, which took place yesterday, Monday, 8 May 2025. Now, he was warmly received by the Prime Minister of Ivory Coast. This visit demonstrates Gambia's strong diplomatic relations with Ivory Coast, and also it will further strengthen the ties between the two countries. That is the bilateral ties between the two countries. Mr. Ouattara secured victory in October 2025 presidential elections with, I think, 89% or 91% of the votes.
Whoa.
Yes. So he's there with other heads of states as well to inaugurate the new president. Now, the other update is from the Ministry of Agriculture. And I think this is good news. And also it's very innovative. The ministry is now digitalizing the agricultural sector in two ways, particularly the payment of farmers for their groundnut produce. There was a pilot last year to introduce a digital payment system. So farmers are paid through a digital wallet. Now the government has invested significantly in digital platforms and mechanized equipment for the 2025 ground season. So two things will happen. Mm-hmm. The first thing is that there will be motorized screening machines that will improve product quality, reduce post-harvest losses, and increase the value of the groundnuts. That is when they supply the groundnuts. But also, there will be POS, that is point-of-sale devices. This will introduce secure, transparent, and efficient digital payments benefiting farmers. Therefore, there will be no more drawbacks. They'll be paid through digitally. Once they deliver their groundnuts, they are paid through digital payments.
So what will these mobile units do?
They'll receive their payments through that. Instead of giving them cash.
No, those are the points of sale.
Yes.
Those are the POSs.
Yes.
All right. But these mobile, how did you call it?
The motorized screening machines.
Motorized, yes.
It will screen the groundnuts before they are taken, so that there are no bad quality groundnuts, or so that everything is okay before they take it to the.
I thought it's just to detect any stones.
Maybe.
Because you heard that some farmers would put stones first and then put the groundnut, on top.
It will increase the value of the groundnuts. We know that. So this is a very major progress to ensure that we digitalize that sector as well.
Okay, the government is providing it, but was it a need of the farmers? Was this something the farmers asked for? Because the argument is sometimes, you give the people what they don't ask for, yet what they continually ask for, you don't deliver on.
Sometimes as a government also, we are able to do an assessment to see what the people need and what is easy, what makes life easy for the people. They don't have to ask for it. When governments make policy, sometimes citizens don't ask for that policy. Policy making comes in three different ways. It could be a problem that the society is facing and government sees that as a problem. It could be that there are findings in research that there's a particular problem. It could be that government believes that this is the easiest way for government, but also for the farmers, because now taking cash, we are now heading towards a cashless society. Taking cash, bulk cash, it has risks, but also it has some other inconveniences as well. So, I mean, having digital payment platforms, which are now, Gambia's fintech industry is growing very well.
Absolutely.
There are many options that could be used, so they can receive their money in real time, and they can use it as they wish.
Okay. Any further updates?
Now, the clarification on car powership will be done by the minister.
Hopefully,
so
yes.
I'll skip that.
Hopefully, yes.
But also, the Minister of Finance also presented his budget, the CDM Keta, sorry. He presented his
CD Kinte was once head of the Football Federation.
Exactly. He presented his 2026 budget to Parliament, aligning with the theme, improving the well-being and quality of every Gambian. I think this is important because the president's vision and the president's priority is to ensure every Gambian lives a dignified life, but also every Gambian fulfills their potential. That is why it's making so much investments in the social sectors, in education, in healthcare, in water and electricity, and in agriculture, or also women empowerment and youth empowerment. The president believes that every Gambian, no matter where you are, whether you are in Bolibana or whether you are in Bijilo, you live a dignified life. But also, the child born in Bantanto and the child born in Bakau should have the same opportunities to fulfill their potentials. If a child born in Bijilo, Bakau wants to be a football star, the government is putting measures in place and the right environment, the right educational facilities so that they are able to fulfill those potentials, focusing on talent development. So our budget now focuses on that. That is why the national GDP is projected to grow by 5.5%. And inflation, particularly year-on-year inflation, has gone down. 2024, September, it was 17%. 2025, September, it's gone down to 7%, 7.4%. So year-on-year inflation has gone down. And the cost of living has been stabilized, particularly price of basic commodities. Now you can buy a bag of rice for $1,700 at retail price. And the budget now prioritizes what they call strong revenue mobilization, prudent fiscal management, and a reduced deficit. If you look at our budget, there is no big hole in our public finances. I've been following the budgets of many countries, particularly recently in the West. They have a big hole in their public finances, and they're finding ways to fill those holes through increase of tax, but also cutting the welfare system. We don't have that problem. Our budget deficit about 1% to GDP.
We don't even have a welfare system, have we?
We have it in a different way. We do a lot of subvention.
And
government does a lot of subvention. We don't do cash transfers.
We now have a social protection agency.
We have a social protection agency which helps many vulnerable families. We have this NAFA project which gives vulnerable families through the Ministry of Gender some cash transfers every month, and these are people living with disabilities, old people, widows. And
it's good you're bringing this up because somebody was wondering why we need a Ministry of Gender, because he couldn't see why the Ministry of Gender is here. What does it do?
So that's an insult. I mean, is that person a politician?
Yes.
That person should be banned from exercising politics in this country.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Yes. If a politician is asking that question, that person should be banned from being a politician in this country. The Ministry of Gender
is the deputy leader of the Gambia Action Party.
I'm not surprised then. I'm not surprised.
Maybe we should bring Fatou Kinte.
No, but I can bring her next week
to come and clarify.
I don't have to defend that, but I think that's the worst I've had for a very long time.
Yeah.
Asking the relevance of the Ministry of Gender. Yeah. In fact, we should praise the president for having the vision and the foresight to create that ministry. It never existed before. That sector was under the vice president's office. This is the first ever ministry responsible for gender, children, and social welfare, trying to protect children. And we had a shift, which is very progressive, from focusing on women issues. Gender doesn't mean women. Gender is about the structural differences between male and women in society. Now, we realize that due to patriarchal practices, due to the patriarchal structure, women have been disadvantaged for far too long in education, in healthcare access, and so on and so forth. We need to create that balance now so that they can catch up. They can also take part in meaningful decision making. So the Ministry of Gender is very important. The Ministry responsible for Children's Affairs is also very important. So I think any politician who questions the relevance of that ministry really should really be banned from being a politician in this country. Now, let's move on. The budget focus on prudent fiscal management, but also a reduced deficit. Like I said, our public finances doesn't have big holes. And there are major investments, 5.9 billion in basic education, 3.1 billion for health. This includes national healthcare insurance scheme, 1.8 billion for agriculture. Now, this excludes some of the donor-funded support.
Shouldn't that have been captured in, the numbers? Because the perennial argument is that, we argue that agriculture is the backbone of this country, but we don't invest in the agricultural sector as we do in other areas, infrastructure, for instance. You spoke about 5 billion going to education. There are still those who would say, most of that money should have gone to agriculture.
No, but
build up the agriculture sector so that it funds.
But the donor support that is going to agriculture, to the Roots project and all other projects, is much more than what is spent.
Is it not possible to capture those figures and incorporate?
They cannot be budgeted for. These are projects, and projects cannot be budgeted for in the national budget. Or they are separate projects, and these projects are ongoing, and they are supporting the agricultural sector by enhancing productivity and also climate resilience. So I think it's important for. Then the other update has to do with the Ministry of Trade about the cement supply. We've been having a lot of complaints that cement is, there's a scarcity of cement.
It's about time we had a substantive trade minister,
policy. Now there's enough cement. Currently, as we speak, there is 115,000 metric tons
of cement
currently
waiting to hit land
because why we need to dredge the port so that those vessels.
Has the dredging started?
What the government has done is that they've
is it government's business to dredge or Al Bayrak and GPA?
No, it's not Al Bayrak. It's not part of the government. GPA is the government, so it's GPA's job. And currently, the procurement for a long-term dredging contract has commenced. To avoid future disruptions. So currently procurement is going to get the right person with the technical capacity to do the dredging, and this will be done. But as a short-term measure, as an interim measure, the government now allows contractors on major projects to import cement through SIE holders, that is Special Investment Certificate holders, subject to ministry clearance. So if you have a big project and you are building you can import cement. You don't have to wait for cement to come from outside.
Luckily for me,
this is a shift a temporary shift in government policy. That now, if you are a big contractor, you go to the Ministry of Trade, and they'll clear.
We need to make that. We need to emphasize that if you're a big contractor with an SIC certificate.
Yes.
Okay.
You can be able to import cement. Now, as we speak, over 115,000 metric tons of cement are currently offshore and will be offloaded as dredging also progresses. The ministry assures the public of its commitment to stabilizing supply and supporting domestic industry. We know cement is a critical commodity, and for me, I always get the best out of situations. I think when I look at the cement situation, it emphasizes the fact that Gambia is really growing. There is economic expansion, but also there is infrastructural expansion in the sense that currently we consume at peak times 110,000 bags of cement a day. At peak times, and off peak times about 45 to 50,000 bags of cement a day. I think this has shown that the Gambia is really expanding, and a country is growing if you fly over its airspace. If you fly over our airspace, or if you see our skyline, you see a lot of buildings popping up. There's a lot of infrastructure development taking place. This shows that the country is really expanding. Now, another important, and I think this is very important, we focus on this, is the release from the Minister of Basic Education, prohibiting musicians with vulgar content from performing in all schools.
Okay. I think I've succeeded in getting CD online, because it was beginning to look like he's CD. Can you hear me? Okay, the line just dropped. Maybe he will.
Yes. So the ministry prohibits musicians with vulgar content from performing in all schools. There's a ban on musicians with vulgar content or immoral content from performing in all schools. Now, despite earlier warnings, some institutions continued inviting such performers, undermining the moral values the education system is trying to instill in our young people. Now, schools must remain safe places or safe spaces that nurture positive values, discipline, and character development. Therefore, the ministry calls on parents, school authorities, and communities to support efforts that protect students from inappropriate content.
But there were school heads who defied the instruction not to allow musicians, artists, performers using inappropriate language in their schools, yet they went ahead and allowed whoever these performers were.
Yes, but I think now there'll be consequences. Now that the ministry is taking a very strong position on this, there'll be zero tolerance on allowing, because we cannot expose our young people to such vulgar and inappropriate content. Therefore, there'll be consequences now going forward for any school head that allows musicians that use vulgar language to perform in the schools in front of children.
Okay. Maybe your colleague will call.
I think we have about 20 minutes.
In the program. There was a message I sent you yesterday from a very keen listener.
I missed it.
About so just pull it up. Go to Peter Gomez. However you saved my number.
Oh, here. Okay, I just saw it.
Yeah. Just read it through and.
Good morning, Peter. I was overwhelmed.
So today, at least for this 1 minute or two, you are Peter.
I'm Peter. Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I was overwhelmed by what I saw at the Banjul meeting, where Ami Bojang played a video of the rollout of the government projects. Brahma Sankare once proposed a paper where the government's projects would be highlighted, but I would propose Dr. Ceesay initiate a website online to catalog all the government's projects in video or photos to complement Yoman Sakunda. If that is in place, we can use it as a reference point. Giswe di Bokusi, seeing is believing. Thank you.
So that's the message. The other one is just to say that.
Yes, so I think
I should read this message.
We are working on it. We are working on a documentary series called Yoruba Documentary Series, where we will serialize sector by sector all the achievements of this government from 2017 to date. I think it's a lot. In fact, it'll be very difficult to serialize it, to publish this, because the government has done a lot. And I've always argued that what has taken place in this country over the past 7 years is what we call explosive development. Yes, in tandem, every sector, from sports infrastructure. You've seen recently what's happening in KG5. We've seen recently your field, Mboyo Field, has been transformed to a modern mini stadium.
Martin lives just a stone's throw away from it. Martin,
from Boyo Field. You see the difference?
The cameraman.
What's the difference? You know the difference. You and both. You used to play.
He came to me and said, boy, so Uncle Peter Zogi said,
I was shocked. Yeah. And Prof. Gomez used to play at Boyo. You know, he was a very, very good footballer, midfielder and a halfback. He was playing on Boyo Field. And when we went there last week to see Boyo, he was surprised as well. We've also built Buyam new mini stadiums, and in rural Gambia, about 5 or 6 mini stadiums are built. So not only investing in sports infrastructure, but also investing in health infrastructure with all the hospitals and health centers we've built. Education infrastructure, almost 6,000 classrooms, over 400 schools in 7-8 years. Road infrastructure, over 1,400 kilometers of roads within 7-8 years. Women empowerment, over $90 million is given to women entrepreneurs to either start a business or to expand their existing businesses. With all the scholarships in higher education, the UCET University, I was there last week taking a stroll, checking out that beautiful infrastructure, state of the art. If you see it, you'll think that if they don't tell you that you're in Brikama, you'll think that no, I'm somewhere in another country. We have the University of the Gambia. We give scholarship to almost 50% of the students entering university. Vocational training institutes in Kanilai, in Demban, in Wasu, in Pachar, in Tujereng. Some are specialized, some are multi-purpose. We've invested in electricity from 58% access to now 75% access, heading towards 90% access. Most villages in the country now have access to electricity.
When will we get to 90%? Because we're supposed to.
They said end of December.
Exactly.
End of December. That is the target.
So in another 22 days.
That's the target.
You will announce that we have attained 90%.
That's the target, except coverage. If there are unforeseen circumstances.
Like what?
It can happen. It's a technical issue. I cannot comment on that. But the target is 90% by end of December. Expansions in healthcare, like expansions in water. We've just launched a project, the WASIP project, providing 1 million inhabitants
And this
of
text
West
is
Coast
saying
region.
all this should be captured.
That's what we are doing. We're working on that.
And put online.
We're working on that.